Sizzle the Clown here. I'm in Seattle, so I'm ground zero for the coronavirus. That also means I am bored to tears. There's nothing for me to do. All the events are canceled. I'm going to use this time to show you some of my favorite designs. Not tutorial style, just like me running through them with a pattern. If you can figure out how I made the design through this video, great! If you can't, send me a message! Disclaimer, if this is your design, I'm so sorry, I don't remember. I've been making this design for the last 6 years, and your girl don't brain that way. I can remember very important things like the way things tasted and some music, but for the most part, if it gets in there, it stays. If it doesn't, it's gone forever. Reach out to me so that I do not affect your business or take credit for your design. I wanted to give props where props are due, because I'm trying really hard not to be that jerk. This is my most favorite design ever. I make it all the time. At one point, I think I made it more than Spider-Man, which is a big deal. I primarily use this design for my restaurant because I think it gives a really great impact, and it's like people are really loud about it. Oh, it's Crossbow! And I use it for busking because I think that busking allows me to take as much time as I want. If I'm paid hourly and I have so many kids to get through, like an endless death march of children, I do not do this design. It's really cool and everybody is going to want it. It takes, with patter, being clever about it takes about 5 minutes. It is also the basis for my bow and arrow design. This part right here makes a excellent bow and arrow. I particularly like this cute little handle. It is just the right size for teeny tiny little hands, and it also keeps their arm away from the string, which kind of minimizes their skin rubbing across it and also makes it way easier to fire. This is what I would use in an endless death march of children line as my traditional bow and arrow, because I think that the spiral doesn't have as much stretch and give. Onward and upward. I'm gonna just go ahead and run through this with my pattern. Pretty simple. If you want me to describe the thing, send me a link. Ask me things. I like talking, clearly. And here we go. A note about coloring. I love weapons because they can be any color they want. And I try to stick with gender neutral colorings just by virtue of I prefer those. But when I ask kids about the colors that they want, I ask them for their 3 most favorite colors, and their first most favorite color is the color that I use twice. So this takes the bow and arrow, or the crossbow itself takes 4 balloons plus an unblown puff balloon for the string, and it doesn't really matter what color the arrow is. Don't use blush. Trust me on this one. About this point is when I start talking about rules, because I realize that if you preload the rules, you're more likely to maintain a level of control in a violent situation, and kids just kind of want to be your best friend and not get in trouble. So I start by saying there are a bunch of rules to owning a crossbow that you get from me. Rule number 1, only shoot people you love. It's not fun shooting strangers because you're more likely to get in trouble and they're less likely to forgive you. If you love someone, shoot it. If they say stop, stop. Consent is cool. Rule number 2, do not shoot it in the restaurant. I will get in so much trouble. The waiters and waitresses really hate it, and if I get in trouble, I won't be able to come back. Rule number 3. You only get 1 arrow at a time. If you lose or destroy your arrow, I will happily make another one for you, but I'm not going to give you multiple arrows at a time, and you're going to get the 1 extra one. Please make sure that you ask me after I am done working with whatever balloon I'm working on, and use your bestest manners. Rule number 4. Don't, under any circumstance, ever, ever, ever shoot somebody in the face. They hate that. It's kind of rude. And then I offer them the sacred fist bump. I say it's sacred because there's the standard handshake, but I'm trying to stay away from touching hands with kids because it's not hygienic. I am more likely to transmit diseases like this than I am like this. And being thoughtful of that and making it look kind of cool will make the kids more likely to obey the rules that I've set, right? And then I go on to demonstrate the arrow for them. This is pretty phallic, isn't it? You know mom and dad's gonna giggle. Kid might even giggle. But I also go through why I built the arrow this way with them to like reduce the novelty. I say that these are an artistic representation of fletching. It's the best way to get them to sit on the string. Kind of lift it up a little bit, but you pull back using just the top arrow. You hold on to the bottom balloon like this so it doesn't fly out of your hand, and you aim through the arrow or the bubbles in the middle. The wiggly part at the end looks very silly, but it's there for a reason. It's the counterweight to your arrow. Your arrow is made almost entirely out of air, so you have to have it heavy on the front to fly through the air with the greatest of ease. It's also most likely to hit the ground first, so it's less likely to pop because there's not as much tension as it is in the rest of the arrow. And then I shoot it into the booth. Now, I very rarely have a problem with it like falling into people's food or running into the booth next to me, because I shoot it right up in front of me. So that's more likely to come straight down in the center of the table, or if it's a booth that's against a wall, I'll shoot it at the wall so it bounces back and kind of lands in the middle of the table. That also gives an opportunity for mom, dad, little brother, little sister, the child even, to catch it out of the air, which kind of gets the wiggles out a little bit, and it also alerts the people around me that there's a show going on, because it's big and flashy and loud and people are laughing. When I build a holster, I only do that if I'm at a party and it's the last balloon I've made. Like if I've saved it for the birthday kid or a particularly older kid who's been very patient and helpful, it's a reward, because I very rarely hand out multiple balloons, multiple arrows at a time. This is a real quick way to end up with chaos. And basically, I just kind of, tragedy. I super loosely wrap a balloon around the top, and then loosely wrap, with a pinch twisted band of course, super loosely wrap a balloon around the bottom of this. Ask the child whether they're a lefty or a righty, and crisscross the balloon around their back and across their chest. It looks a little bit like this. And I just loosely wrap it. Oops. I should have practiced this before I tried it, because this is difficult. I loosely wrap it and like ask to get in their personal space. And then it kind of sits across them like this. Now, this is really hard to pull from. It's a balloon. There's a lot of friction. But the illusion of having a quiver is kind of cool enough. It's like cosplay at that point. You're cosplaying a crossbow with balloons. And kids love it. They can always like pull it off and grab another arrow, but they only need one to have a good time because they're gonna shoot it around and it's gonna land on the floor and they're gonna go pick it up. It's easier to pick a bullet off the floor than to use the quiver. But that also allows them a couple of chances to mess up. Thank you for coming with me. I hope that you enjoy this. I hope that this was somewhat easy to follow through. If you want me to give you a step-by-step, I'm happy to do that. Send me a message. If you enjoyed this and it blows your mind, balloon artists are nerds. It might blow your mind. I'm not going to tell you what you're going to do with your life. You're an adult. Then please like, subscribe, share, mad props, whatever you choose to share your enthusiasm with me. I love enthusiasm and I'd love to hear it from you. That's me. I'm Sizzle Clown. That's a crossbow. Enjoy the rest of your day. And wash your hands.